Coming to you live from my apartment. It's Rob has a podcast, and now here's a guy who always sticks to his core values of watching a lot of nonsense on TV. I am Rob Cesternino. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our Thursday night Eviction recap. And we have a lot to talk about here tonight after, very sadly, the final showmance in the house was split up. It was so sad. God is crying. The only thing that can stand in Paul's way, divine intervention, has us on our first ever hashtag HOH rain delay. But we've got a lot to talk about here tonight because we have a great guest from said Big Brother 19 house. Please welcome to the podcast for the first time, Ramses Soto. Ramses, how are you?
Yo, I'm good. Oh my God, I got a Rob has a podcast bell click. I'm so excited.
Good. I'm very excited to talk to you, Ramses, and I'm so excited that you're lit. You're pumped up.
I'm lit. I'm always pumped up, guys. When am I not?
Okay. Sometimes.
Yeah, there's those moments.
Yeah. When Paul's having his way in the Big Brother house. And then here with me once again, he had a rough night last night, but hopefully he is doing okay today. Please welcome back Taryn Armstrong. Taryn, how are you?
Rob, I'm not doing okay because the second Julie said we're going to have a rain delay, I was like, what? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Who knew? Who knew that was the thing? Yeah.
It's never happened. I don't understand. I don't like. I was tweeting this out. Like, what is this? Are we sports all of a sudden? Why are we rain delaying? I don't understand.
Well, it looked to me like the HOH competition was the thing where you have to sort of like, it's like the ready, set, go, and then it's like words that rhyme with go. So it's the kind of thing that might be slippery if there is water on the track. So I guess we will see if we get to that during our show. If that is the case, we will update you as we get to our live feed segment. Hashtag RHAP if you want to get your questions in with Ramses tonight. So looking forward to getting into everything. Ramses, how have you been?
I've been good. You know, like I said, tell everybody getting used to real life. But at this point, I'm kind of used to it. To be honest, I'm
back and ready. And what has it been like to be such a big fan of the show? Then you were there, and now you're back watching the show, and I'm presumably the live feeds with the rest of us.
Yeah, it's insane. It's really weird to see it from like an outside perspective, because when you're in there, there's always that like big brother like blinder, and then you come out and it's like, holy crap, so much more has been happening. Like it's completely different.
What was the biggest thing you were surprised to learn once you got out?
I was very surprised that Alex was aligned with Paul. They're really doing a good job in keeping that under wraps. And Kevin had the $25,000. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. Oh my God. I'm like, I'm trying to have like, I'm really pulling for him to win the 500K so that when I go to Thanksgiving, he has that money ready for me. I'm going to ask for that $25,000.
Yeah, because everybody's saying you had it.
I know. It's all right, though. I can forgive him.
Yes. Well, Ramsey, I'm sure you were very upset tonight because I know that your Big Brother crush left the house tonight. We know from the recap of the recap that this happened.
Will you announce him?
Oh, man.
This is literally the life you want.
Dude, this is going to be such a long summer.
Dude, I was so sexually frustrated in there. Everybody had a boo, and I was so alone. In a cast full of showmances, why wouldn't you put a second gay person in there? I mean, come on, help me out.
Were you
okay.
Were you disappointed to see Matt go out tonight?
I mean, it's one or the other. I mean, I was honestly like, out of everyone in there, I was like, okay, Matt and Raven just need to be split up. They're just too much of followers. You know what I mean? Like, they literally like had no brain of their own in this game. Like, no brains of their own at all. Like, they always went to Paul or someone else for a decision. So I'm just like, okay, at least one of them has to leave. So it had to be Matt.
Yeah. And so Matt ultimately is the person who goes home, but not before we had some fireworks on the night that we heard from Matt the most out of this entire season. We've been talking all week about this big blow up that happened in the house right after the veto ceremony. And we really did get a healthy dose of that from the episode tonight, and really it was a lot of the fight that we were talking about. This is how upset Matt got.
Don't say you're right, dude. At least stick by your guns. I did. No, you didn't, dude. You just said she was right. You little punk.
You little punk.
That voice crack. You little punk. He does that too when he gets excited. And stuff. What's going on with this Elmo voice, dude?
Yeah. It was beyond Elmo. We reached Mickey Mouse.
It was
Elmo was a little
yes.
bit. Yeah, really, it was insane.
Yeah. Oh God. He has.
Hello, Taryn, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, we lost Ramses for a second.
He got too incredulous.
He got too mad.
Oh,
he got too. Sorry, your Matt voice shorted out your internet for a second, Ramses. Go ahead.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. I'm too late. I mean, I'm too late. No, but yeah, I forgot what I was saying.
Yes, that's okay. That's okay. That the Big Brother 19 curse is struck again. We lost your video, Ramsey. Could you possibly go out of the room and then come back in? That might end up fixing it.
Yeah, for sure. Can you guys hear me though?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Let me do this for you.
Yeah, give that a shot, and we'll see if we can get that reset. I don't want.
Can you believe he's hiding right now?
Is that what's going on?
He's hiding from us right now. He should face us like a man for losing his video.
Yeah. What are you doing hiding? We can see your video. Come on. So we had a lot of that. Let's see if we can get. Here's Ramses.
Better.
For a second. Yes, we thought you were hiding in the storage room like Whistle Nut.
Couldn't face us like a man.
Yeah.
Oh, but I'm back.
Yeah. So
yelling.
The cross-examination of Jason continued from Matt and Raven for a while. They were trying to ask him what his intention was.
I mean, I wasn't trying to disrespect you or Raven by going in the storage room. I mean, what were you trying to do?
What are you trying to do? What are you trying to do?
Yeah, I like that one.
What were you trying to do?
That came so out of nowhere.
What are you trying to do? Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Taryn, we talked all week about, did Jason in fact say to Raven, "Hey, I'll take you off the block. Don't worry. I got your back. Don't worry. We'll take off the block." Whistlenut says, "No, absolutely not. I did not say that. No way." And then we did find out tonight that he did say that.
What were you trying to do?
Yeah. I like when they do this. I like when they show the receipts. I feel like it's very useful, especially when it's stuff that wasn't on the feeds. And then having Jason go, "Absolutely no way did I say that," and then cut right to him saying that. I feel like that's the way to edit things.
Yeah. People are asking me for back-to-back. They want to hear.
What were you trying to do?
And they want to compare that to Tony's llama. What do you think?
It's pretty spot on.
Pretty spot on. Yeah.
I hear some similarities.
Yes. Okay. Ramses, could you talk a little bit about Jason and his decision to keep Matt and Raven on the block as somebody watching the show now? What did you think about that move?
I mean, I can definitely understand why he was so conflicted. I mean, Kevin and him have always been extremely close, but as a game move, it would have been really smart for him to put up Kevin so that he can have everyone happy. But if Kevin would have left, I feel like that would have sucked for Jason's game, because I know Kevin was going to have Jason's back for sure. You know what I mean? So it really was just like a very hard balance, but in the end he had to, like he said, he's HOH, he had to make a decision and he just went for it.
Yeah. And unfortunately in doing that, he did not
Stick to your core values.
He could not stick to his core values, Taryn. What are Whistlenut's core values, Taryn?
To be a whistle nut.
I keep
be whistle nut. Comes out of nowhere.
Ramses, did you get to track down what Jason's core values were and how he got away from them?
Not really. I mean, I'd say his core values were the thingy that he does. Though I don't even know how to do it. But I don't know. I don't know what his core values are. Maybe just sticking to his chaps or cowboy hat.
Yeah, stick to your core values. Aaron, is that an idea to take one of the apples? Is that what Matt is talking about? To stick to the apple cores?
Yeah, I think so. There's value in those apples.
There's value in each of those apples. This is another thing. I don't really even know what Matt is saying here.
Let me guess you can't. Oh, now you remember. No, oh, yeah. All right.
Series of noises.
Oh, he was so dude. I couldn't. I don't know. I wanted to be like, okay, dude, like this is. If I was in there, I would be crying laughing because that like high pitched voice just gets me every time.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
What are you trying to do?
Yeah.
You little punk.
That's probably the highest he got, I think, out of all of those. Yeah, they got. And they had to just act like really incredulous and, just kept going back over and over about it. So I did think it was pretty interesting, though, to hear some of the things that came out of that as it pertained to Kevin, because we saw we saw part of the fight on the show. And obviously it escalated more where Kevin got into it with Josh. Josh decided to confront Kevin, and we saw that Kevin swore on his kids about how he wasn't the second vote for Jason, but then he got really animated and wouldn't swear on his kids about the $25,000 that Ramses took. And so he ended up, getting into that big confrontation with Josh. And then we saw later on Josh and Christmas putting it all together that, boy, well, we know that Kevin took the $25K because he wouldn't swear on his kids about that. And we also know that Alex is the other hinky vote because that we saw that he would swear on his kids about that. They know Kevin's tell, Ramses.
Mm-hmm. They got him on lock, and that's why everyone has their eyes on him. You know what I mean? Because they're kind of like figuring out his game and figuring out that he's just very buddy with everybody and he hasn't even been on the block. You know what I mean? So people are catching on to his very, very social game.
And clearly, you should have sworn your kids that you didn't have the $25,000.
I should have sworn them all my children.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that if it would help.
Yeah. Ramses, do you think that Kevin's strategy is to do what he's being accused of, where he is trying to intentionally butter up the people as they go to the jury, or is this just something that is being slandered against him?
It's definitely something that's being slandered against him. From what I've gathered, literally every house guest that has left, there has been just like lies being told about them. Like Dominique, she was just being blasted with lies and attacked with me. So many freaking lies, which is why like it's just happening with him. I mean, that's the tactic that the house is using, and it's been working to make people targets. And I feel like it's just gonna keep happening like that. I bet you, after the next person leaves, the next person that they want to target, they're just going to start lying about them and antagonizing them, which is literally what they do to everybody.
And Kevin was commenting on that tonight. He talked about how that this is something that the house does where people are trying to create these targets, and he doesn't want to get played like that. Ramsey, who are you rooting for now that you're out of the house?
It's so weird because at this point, I'm just like, game wise, I want Kevin to win, obviously, because he's the only person in there that I was like the closest friends with. But strategically and game wise, Paul has like a great game, dude. Like he has these people whipped to the point where he can literally just tell them the most outrageous thing and they would believe it. Like it's amazing. Like you have to give him props. You know what I mean? So he's the only one right now in that house that I think even deserves to win. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm impressed to hear you say that because I didn't think that you were going to be going for Paul if Kevin couldn't win. You were somebody, though, that Paul had his eye on from the get-go, and somebody that even from the first week of the game, Paul knew that a big part of winning the game was going to be getting you out of the game. And he really ultimately got his wish on a silver platter when Jessica put you up on the block that week. Did you know how badly Paul wanted you out of the game?
No, I actually had no idea that it was Paul. I always thought it was Dominique because Dominique was the one person in that house out of everybody who actually made me feel uncomfortable when she ever talked to me. So when she left, I was like, okay, well, maybe now that I don't have this person who I thought was the one throwing the lies about me around, now that they're gone, maybe I should be better. But the next week happened and I'm just like, okay, like it's not really clearing up. So now I just had to it was just weird. It just caught me by surprise and I was like, crap.
One of the things that Paul had been saying was that he was able to identify that you were a bigger fan than you let on to him, where you tried to say that you weren't that big of a fan. Did you suspect that Paul knew that?
I could suspect that Paul knew that, and it was being thrown around because every time I had conversations with them, they always mentioned like, because you're a super fan, right? Because they're a super fan. And I just kept to my story. I'm just like, I mean, I'm a big fan of the show. I've only seen 3 or 4 seasons of it because my brother's the actual super fan. I mean, I tried to keep to my story, but I can tell that people were just like, nah, this kid's a super fan. And apparently it was Paul who was throwing that around too, you know, all the lies about me. Or, well, that's not really a lie, but I want to keep under wraps.
Can you talk a little bit about Josh and your opinion of him? That tonight I felt like we saw the classic Josh story of that, not unlike my 2-year-old. He is going to have like an angry fit and then very quickly thereafter be crying about what just happened. And I know there's been a lot of talk about, is he the person waiting in the shadows that could potentially take Paul out? And I'd love to get your take on his trajectory here.
Honestly, if he takes out Paul, dude, that would be awesome. I mean, that would be a comeback, and I feel like applause to him. Anybody who can get out Paul. But I mean, I really Josh could do it because you guys know Josh is crazy. Like he'll do whatever. Like you just don't know what Josh is thinking. And like tonight, he literally just freaking just starts a problem and cries about it. Just like you just don't know what this guy's thinking. He's so sporadic. He's just so crazy. And that's how it is living with him. So if he literally could just be the one to take out Paul. You never know.
You know, I feel like we don't talk a lot about Christmas as a potential endgame threat. Ramses, do you feel like that the people you played with would vote for Christmas if she was at the end of the game?
I think so. I mean, living with Christmas has a very similar game to Paul, which is something we don't really see on the shows. She literally goes around and talks to, at least when I was in there, when there were more people, she used to go around and talk to everybody, just like Paul goes around and talks to everybody. And she has a really good social game with a lot of the players. So maybe what she's been trying to do since the beginning is going to help her out if she does make it to final 2. So let's see.
Yeah,
I think she could have the votes, definitely.
And then talk about some of the other players that are still in there in terms of what your opinion is of them now. I'd love to get your take on the perception of Raven that you found out about once you left the house, because that we hear from the feeds and on the show, people think of Raven one way, and there's obviously a lot of people that feel a different way about Raven. So what was that experience like getting up to speed?
That was the crazy. Out of like a lot of things shocked me, but that was definitely just like the craziest thing to come out and see everyone's reaction, because everyone in that house just thinks that Raven's just this like cute little girl that's making food for us all the time because she's a sweetheart and she's had who knows how many terminal diseases she said she had so far, you know, like she's just the sweetheart. And when you come out and you can see all the stuff that's being said about her and like the perception that people don't like her as much as we think they do, that's extremely shocking. Extremely shocking.
Was there anything that she said while you were in the house that you felt like, well, I don't know if that really adds up, that you came out of the house to find out that other people had been wondering about the same thing?
She, as you guys know, she just says like all these just little lies that make no sense, and it's constant, dude. So most of the stuff you can pick up on that it's like this doesn't make sense, but for me, I kind of just like didn't think about it too much because I knew even if I said something at that point, nobody was gonna like think of her as a target or anything. So why start that? You know what I mean? But everybody could like pick up on everything. Like she said she said that she has two major terminal diseases, and then later start saying that she has two other different terminal diseases and has like broken bones and stuff. Like, dude, you would not be on Big Brother if all of this was true. You know what I mean? It's just obvious. It's just like you have to be lying about pretty much most of this stuff, but you kind of have to give the benefit of the doubt because if what she's saying is true, you don't really want to be the guy who just blasted this one girl,
You don't want to be insensitive, but you also don't want to be duped potentially.
Exactly. That's true.
Yeah. Do you think that Matt and Raven and that Maven is going to last beyond the show, Ramses?
Personally, I don't think so. I mean, let's see. Depends. They definitely seemed like they had a lot of chemistry, but was it BB chemistry or was it real chemistry? You just never know until it happens afterwards. So,
yeah. So I made a bet with Taryn that Taryn thinks that they're going to get married.
Ooh.
He's lying.
I don't know.
He's
You're
lying.
lying? Okay, I was going to say, well, you're going to lose that bet pretty quickly. Pretty quickly.
So you should have said that you made that bet with Ramses, because if you said Ramses said that, everyone would have believed it.
Yo, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I just feel like that, and that conversation with Julie was so awkward because I don't know why Julie she was trying to like treat Matt with kid gloves, and it was awkward. He just kept like hitting his legs, like you heard it like every 5 seconds, like he'd be like hitting his legs, and she was trying to like be like prod a little bit, like, but why did you give your game away? And he's like, well, he wanted Raven to, he was giving it up for Raven to win, but she's not going to win. So Julie even like at one point was like, are you sure you think that's going to happen?
You little punk!
Yeah.
Well, he was like, well, you guys all saw. She's amazing. She's like the kindest person ever. Everyone loves her. And the audience was just.
Yeah, this is what Matt had to say about Raven with Julie Chen.
I mean, anybody who watched the show, she's amazing. I mean, she's the best.
Yeah.
Dude, I was laughing so
We got a knee
hard
slap
during
in
that
there,
entire interview.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, anybody who watched the show,
only you
she's amazing. I mean, she's the best.
He's gonna come out and be like, okay, well.
He's gonna come out and be like,
Remember the guys who came? Oh, now you remember. No, oh, yeah. All right.
Oh, Matthew.
Yeah. He was also like the only person that clapped after Raven's goodbye message. Like literally nobody in the audience clapped with him.
Yeah. Such a weird story, the Matt and Raven saga. We saw some goodbye messages for Matt tonight. My favorite was the Kevin goodbye for Matt.
Matt, take care. Goodbye.
That is classic Kevin. That if you want one video to describe Kevin, that like 3-second clip is literally Kevin.
Oh, good goodbye message. That was
goodbye,
well done.
Matt, take care. Goodbye.
What were you trying to do?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I feel like that Paul was even throwing some shade at Matt in his goodbye message. Is like, Matt, I respect the way that you played for your ride or die, and then you just died. Paul couldn't even help himself.
Paul's goodbye messages so far have been just like a little bit like condescending. I mean, at least a little bit condescending. Mark's was very condescending, but like it really feels like he's trying really hard, as opposed to like Kevin and Josh, who are just being like themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, Josh did a good job with the big bowl of cereal. It seems like that they had a little bit of a moment on the way out the door with Matt. Now we also got to see. Yes, he mentioned cereal. He's like, oh, my true love, cereal. Now Ramses, we got to see a little bit of what was going on in the jury house, and it did seem like that jury house was a little bit salty towards the house, but not necessarily to Paul in particular. Did you feel like that you got a read on how this jury would potentially vote at the end of the game?
You know what? I honestly feel like, I don't know, because I know that Elena, from talking to her, she would definitely vote at the end for someone like I don't know if we're all going to be salty people. You guys know that this cast has been pretty salty so far, but I feel like she is definitely someone and that would look at someone who played the game. Like likability or not, she will vote for someone who played the game. So if Paul made it to the end, she would give him her vote. And I think Mark will follow through. Cody, on the other hand, I don't really know. Cody's definitely going to be that vote that I'm going to be suspensefully waiting to see who he's going to cast for, because I know he just doesn't like anybody in there at all. So,
Taryn, did you have any takeaways from the jury segment tonight?
Oh, my favorite part was when they were like giving Mark a hard time for being so nice to them on the way out. He's like, what do you want me to do? I was trying to be nice. I can't do anything
right.
Yeah. Like, what are you doing? Why? Ew, why are you hugging them?
Yeah. Although it is ironic that now this jury house is going to be Cody and Elena and Matt and Mark, 4 of these people that were in those showmances, those 3 showmances at the beginning of the game that came together and they could have taken out Christmas when Cody was the HOH. They're all sitting in the jury house. What a different season this would have been, Ramses.
Man, it would have been so different if that would have just started with Christmas just going home. Because I feel like from there would have been at least one more vote, which was Jillian's vote on our side. But from there on, it was just like went downfall. And here we are. Yeah. It's just everyone who Paul wants in there.
Could you talk a little bit about in the beginning of the game? Because it seemed like on night 1 that you were set up especially well, that it looked like the first group that came together was going to be this sort of misfit outcast group where it was going to be you and Queen Jillian and Megan and Alex. It looked like that you guys had something going on that first night. I mean, what was the reason why things ended up spiraling so out of control?
Dude, I was so ready for that to happen too, because I knew that we were going to be a core of superfans that were just going to be like, okay, this is a veteran and we need to go for this veteran. And it just, once Paul got those 3 weeks of safety, I feel like that's literally when everyone was just like break apart. And it was over, because once he has that safety, I mean, you can't really go for him. I mean, you have to have another game plan, back you up. So,
yeah. Did you have any reason to suspect that Megan was going to walk away from the game as somebody that was in her alliance?
I had no idea she was going to walk. I mean, when she initially left into the DR, we were all just like, oh, she's probably just like crying her eyes out, just being really emotional about the situation. And then another hour went by, and then another hour went by, and it's like a whole day, and we're like, holy snap, what is going on? And we all just like were staying up that night. We were just like, dude, I think she quit, because there's no way there's someone in here staying here for so long. So yeah, it's crazy. Very crazy.
And what was it like working with Alex in those early days of the game? And how do you feel like that she's changed?
She's definitely adapting to whatever's going on in the house. I mean, at first she saw that initial crew that we had that was super fans. We were like, okay, we want to get out someone who's strong, that we know how they play, which was Paul. That didn't really work out, so she was like, okay, let me figure something out. Luckily she had Jason there with her. They hit it off from the beginning, and from there she's been adapting. She was just like, hey, let me just like align myself with Paul, and that's been helping her, honestly. So
could you talk a little bit about your process of getting onto the show? Did you apply multiple seasons, or this was the first time you tried to get onto the show?
No, I just turned 21 last December. So instantly I made my video and I went to an open call, and it just went uphill from there, which is extremely exciting for a first time application.
Yeah. And what is your real story with the Big Brother fandom, that you had seen a few seasons and then you went back and watched all of them?
Yeah, I watched. Well, my first season that I watched was 16, and it was right after 16 happened, and I just like watched them all, and I was like, dude, this show's amazing. And then from there, I just binge watched all the other seasons. I got the CBS All Access, and I just like watched all the seasons, and I just fell in love with the show. And then from there, ever since that, I started getting on like the Twitters and getting more into the fandoms and stuff, watching more podcasts, and that was my story, my BB story.
Yeah, I really felt like that you caught a break when Cameron went home the first night because I thought that the Big Brother house was going to be on the lookout for a super fan. And I thought that he was going to be that sacrificial lamb and that you were going to be able to have enough room to operate. Unfortunately, this was not going to be the case in the season with the returning vet. How much did having one veteran come back to the house screw things up for you personally?
For me personally, it screwed up a lot. I mean, especially it being Paul, because it could have been a lot of different like returnees, you know what I mean? But Paul specifically, he's a strong competitor and he knows how to throw people under the bus when he has to, and he knows how to be sly about it. So obviously a lot of gameplay that he did behind my back, which was pretty much just throwing all these lies about me, that had a lot to do with me leaving, you know? So that definitely affected my gameplay and my ultimate demise in the house for sure.
How disappointed were you that you didn't get to wear a costume in the Big Brother house?
Oh, dude, I really wanted to wear like a unitard, something. Give me something, but it never happened, sadly. Oh.
Which one? What's your favorite costume?
I would have done the Extrematard. That looks so cool. You can see me rocking the Extrematard in that house. I would have had so much fun with that.
I could see it. How do you think this week is going to play out, Ramses?
Oh my gosh, man, I wish we could have seen this HOH comp because I've been waiting for it. But honestly, if Kevin doesn't win this, he's probably going to be put on the block. And from the get-go, he's probably not going to win veto. And if the house comes to a consensus, they're probably going to kick him out the door next week. But let's hope he wins. You know,
Taryn, what do you think? Can we talk about what the plans are in motion heading into this HOH challenge? Is that considered spoilers?
I mean, it might be, honestly, because I could probably tell you not only who's going to win the competition and who will probably go home this week, but I can probably tell you the order in which they will lose the competition tonight. That's how planned they have this thing.
All right. Well, easier said than done. So yeah. I guess let's talk about what the plan is, and then we can see if it's going to be executed in that order. And if you are especially sensitive to that, you can always skip ahead 3 or 4 minutes as we get into this with Taryn. So what is the forecast for the challenge for tonight?
Well, I mean, that competition looked like the one where you run and hit the buzzer. So it will be pretty easy for people to throw it and know who is left in the competition. So with that said, Paul told Kevin to throw the competition right away. And this is the only wrinkle in the plan, is that Kevin doesn't want to throw the competition. However, this competition, Kevin's probably not going to win it anyway. He's probably, exactly. He's probably going to be the first one out anyway, at which point Raven will throw the competition, at which point Alex will feel comfortable throwing the competition. Then Paul will throw the competition to Josh because Christmas, I imagine, is not eligible to compete. Josh will probably be the HOH, and then he will nominate Alex and Jason with the intention to get Jason out of the house. Unless he wins the veto, it'll be Jason. And if he does win the veto, it'll be Alex.
Okay. Now let's talk about this competition in particular, because we have everybody has to be on their mark. And obviously this is one that Christmas won't be able to compete in, I'm presuming. And it would really be the fix being in if Christmas could win this competition. But Taryn, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that this is a competition where if you fault, are you out of the competition?
I believe so, yeah.
So this could be a competition where if Josh loses his focus, and unless it's going to be such an obvious throw where people are going to either all fault in the order that they are going to lose the competition, like I just could see a situation where Josh is over anxious and faults. And now what's the situation going to be? Because we could have it where Alex or Jason could win this by default, and not by faulting. By then, if Josh makes one mistake, I mean, this is a little bit of a razor thin. It's not like as simple as, okay, you let go of the rope at this point.
Yeah, that's true. I do think what we could potentially see is a lot of like looking to the side and being like, yes, pretend to fault now. I think you're right. And this, again, like, unfortunately, I can't see Kevin winning this one. Kevin was the best option to win the HOH here. But I could see Alex deciding not to throw the competition. And really, I mean, Jason would have totally dominated this competition. Paul is probably the next likely person to win, and Paul doesn't want to win. So we could have a situation where Raven throws it, and then Josh screws up, and Alex isn't getting off the thing, and then all of a sudden Paul has to then throw it to Alex or win the competition and have to take them out himself. That's where things could get tricky for him.
And then what would happen in the situation where if Alex ended up winning the HOH, she would put Kevin up, but who would be the person that would be the pawn in her mind next to Kevin? Would it be Raven?
Yes, it would be Kevin and Raven, with her intention to be sending Kevin out of the house.
And then what would the house do? Would Paul go behind her back and then decide to keep Kevin in that situation?
Well, that's the tricky thing. The current plan, at least according to what Paul has been telling Christmas and Josh, is that they want to take Kevin to the Final Four. That's actually not in Paul's best interest. It's Paul's best interest is to take Raven down to the Final Three. Absolutely. So that might not be his actual intentions. So he may go along with this idea to get Kevin out. But really, I don't think he'll even need to go behind Alex's back. If he says, oh, actually, Raven's been talking more crap about you than even Kevin has, he'll be able to switch Alex onto Raven instead. If he so desires.
Okay. Ramses, I'd love to get your take on some of the talk going on in the house about Kevin. We've seen some of it on the show, and we've been talking about some of it off the show, or some of the stuff from the live feeds, including what Jason said about Kevin and his family. We've seen a lot of stuff that Alex has also said about Kevin. Do you feel like that this house in particular has an issue with some of these personal attacks?
Yeah, I feel like at a very early stage in this season, people made it okay to bring up people's families and bring up things that in Big Brother should not be brought up. You know what I mean? And I feel like with that okay happening, people kind of put that into their strategy and put that into the way they want to antagonize people, and they use that to their advantage when it should not happen. It should not be happening, and especially being that vulgar. But I mean, things that are that vulgar like that, I don't know, that's just not chill. Not at all.
It's not lit. Who do you think is personally responsible? Do you think, is it a Paul thing, or do you think that there's other parties that were responsible for this?
I definitely feel like, because Josh has always been a very sporadic person, but I feel like Paul was the one who went out and was like, Josh, go do this. Go bring up this. Go bring up Cody's military service. You know what I mean? So he was the one instigating all the situations. And since he's a veteran, it's making it okay for the newbies. They're going to be like, okay, this is okay because this happens in Big Brother. Paul knows that this is okay in Big Brother because he did it already. So having that line being drawn that this is okay, and it being approved by the Paul Master Supreme, I mean, everyone just adapts that and becomes a bully. So,
okay. Ramses, before we go to the questions, I know one of the questions I'm sure we will certainly get is, why didn't you push for Jessica to use the veto on you when you were on the block?
Yeah. I mean, I really thought that week I could have done two things. I could have been really aggressive and potentially ruin the fact that what everyone was telling me that I was safe. I could have ruined that. Or I could have been really passive, bumped up my social game, and try to keep buddy with everybody, because Josh would eventually pretty much get himself evicted that week. And that's the route I try to take. I was like, let me be more passive. Let me let this guy literally dig himself his own hole this week and get himself out. But obviously that didn't work. And I thought Jessica would have tried to want to get me off, but I should have pushed more on her. It was definitely, that's what I should have done.
Did you know how close she came to using the veto on you?
I had no idea if I would have known that close, because every time I talked to her, she straight up told me, but let me know if you're feeling uncomfortable, but I'm pretty sure I'm not using this veto. She always told me in every conversation that we had, she was like, I'm not going to use the veto. And I was like, if she's saying this, probably Cody's backing this up. And when there's two minds put together in a decision like this, I feel like it's really like no blood on their hands. Might as well keep me on the block. You know what I mean? That's how I thought of it. So I was like, I mean, I really can't convince her anymore. So let me just try to figure this out with the rest of the house guests. But I should have just been up there in that HOH, just going ham on it.
Do you think that it was a personal bad thing for you when Cody came back into the game?
I really do think so, because I don't think that Jessica would have put me up on the block at all if once she would have won the HOH. Because the week prior, me and Jessica, I straight up went to Jessica and we had a conversation in the bathroom. I was like, Jessica, I'm telling you right now, I've been fed information because Alex told me that me and Jess were going to be put on the block the next week. I straight up told her, I was like, Jessica, I don't know if you heard this, but someone told me information that me and you will be put on the block, you as plan A and me as plan B. We're both alone in this game. Let's try to have each other's back if we win HOH. Literally said that. She was like, yeah, dude, I got you. Wins HOH and puts me up. I mean, maybe because of Cody's influence. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, going back to the first Den of Temptation, where Paul got the Pendant of Protection, which unleashed a curse onto the house, which was you had to put yourself on the block for one of the first 3 weeks of the game. We didn't really understand why that was a negative consequence for Paul. It seemed like a good thing to happen to Paul, and then another good thing to happen to Paul on top of that. Now, ultimately, you didn't go home in that week that you had to put yourself up on the block, but could you just talk a little bit about that when you realized that you had to volunteer to go on the block?
Yeah, that was extremely nerve-wracking, and honestly, I felt like it was super unfair because this guy got 3 weeks of safety, and all I got was literally having to put myself up on the block, which is literally the worst position you could be in that house. So it was just really scary because I had no idea when to put myself up. Like I mean, you never know, but I felt like luckily the stars freaking aligned for me, and Cody was 100% the target for that week. So I was like, dude, I have to take this ASAP, because I knew right when I got it, I was like, I want to get rid of this curse as soon as possible once we have numbers in this house, because if I wait 3 weeks, 2 more of my allies could have left. So I was like, let me try to get rid of this ASAP. And luckily, Cody was the target that week. So
where that time it worked out.
Yeah.
In the chat room, people want me to ask you about what happened with the banner plane. Can you set that up?
Well, I pretty much just saw. I thought I saw like something in the clouds because I think it was like 4th of July or the day before. So there was stuff being written like the plane cloud thingies, and I swear it said Mark and then DOM. So Mark Dom. I mean, we're the Big Brother house. People get suspicious about random little things. We get paranoid. And I legit read MARKDOM. I mean, what else does that mean? Right on top of the Big Brother house. So I never told anybody about that except for Jillian, but Jillian was out there with me. And then everyone wanted to pin that on me, that I was the one telling people. I was like, dude, I never told anybody. I never told anyone. Oh, it was annoying.
Yeah. Oh, this house will do that to you, Ramses.
Yeah, it does that.
Okay. Taryn, did you want to ask anything else before I get to some of the questions from the audience?
Well, I mean, you were talking about that week that you had to put yourself up on the block because of the curse. That was the week that we had that cool veto competition that you were supposed to throw. And I know there was some confusion about whether or not you tried to throw it or tried to win it. Can you just like tell us what happened there?
Yeah, well, I definitely was going back and forth if I wanted to like throw it or not, but definitely it got to a point where it was like every single house guest. Like at that point, I thought Jason and Alex were my allies as well. So even they were telling me, like, everyone went into the Apple room and straight up told me, dude, throw this. We got you. Like every house guest. Like maybe Kevin was out in the kitchen, but I knew he had my back. You know what I mean? So at that point, it's like I can't piss off the rest of the house guests when every single one is telling me to throw this competition. You know what I mean? So I wasn't put in a position where it was like, I have to throw it. So once I went into it and I was playing it, I was just like, really, it was just my adrenaline. Like my adrenaline was pumping through that. I was just having fun. Like I got to be active. I got to kick through boards and stuff. So I was just having fun with it. And like, I was geeked out running through it. And by the time I hit the buzzer, I thought that my strategy was like, go through the detours. And if you go through the detours, your time's going to suck. So I was just like, okay, let me do that. Let me just mess up on all the questions. But that didn't work out, obviously, because I almost won it.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed that competition, and I think that was probably your best
fun.
moment on the show because you were really, animated and fun during that whole competition.
Fun.
So that was really fun to get to see.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a blast. You guys could definitely see that. I was having way too much fun.
Yeah. Actually, I might take it back that I think it was your second best moment on the show behind.
Will you announce him?
Accent.
Oh, Ramses.
This is literally the life you want.
Dude, this is going to be such a long summer.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I love the Ramses.
Yeah. You just talk this through. So you've realized that your ideal person was that you wanted to take Mark's personality and put it into Paul's body, and then it was going to be Matt.
Yeah, but I didn't even think of this either. Like I was just like thinking it through, and it was just like, holy crap, this literally is Matt. It's just because who just doesn't want who doesn't want a guy who has the personality of Mark? This guy's just like a romantic teddy bear, and then Paul's just like the tattoos are just like hot. You know what I mean? And then
I hear you.
Turn it into he was like, you feel me, Rob? You feel me?
Yeah. Yes.
And then you switch that over, and it's just like, oh my god, dude! Like if you put them together, it's literally Matt. He got the tattoos, he has the beard, he has the nice personality. Ideal man, right there.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that could have been you getting a tattoo with Matt after the season, and not Raven.
Yeah. Okay. I'll sabotage it. I'll walk in with like booty length red wing. He won't know the difference.
Ramses, I would bet tonight that I think there's a better chance of you and Matt making a showmance after the season than Matt and Raven after the season.
I agree. I'm definitely going to pursue, try my best. Don't know how well that's going to go, but, give it a good old Ramses effort. That veto.
Yeah, why not? Give it a shot.
See how it goes.
Let's get into taking some of the questions from our listeners. Hashtag RHAP. Scott St. Pierre has put these all together. Matt wants to ask, is there any reason for Paul to win HOH this week? I'm assuming he'll throw it, so he isn't the one to draw a line in the sand. Taryn, we talked about this a lot during the week about, are we getting to the point where Paul should just decide to win it himself? But it does not seem like that will be the case.
No, probably not. I do think if for whatever reason it came down to him and Alex, he might enter into a dilemma where he thinks maybe I should win this. But I think that's not particularly likely. I think we'll probably see him throw this HOH competition.
Okay. Let's go to Callie, who asked the question. Ramses, are you glad you got out of the house when you did, right before the nasty behavior got out of hand, or do you still want to be there? I think I know the answer to this, but have you thought about that?
I mean, I applied to Big Brother because I wanted to be in Big Brother. I mean, nobody who left wants to be gone. Of course I want to be in there. And obviously, if I was in there, I would have said something. I mean, because it got way too personal, like way too personal. So I feel like there had to be someone to like stop it. But
it's hard because I think that if you are the person who says something in this house, you're going to be the next target. So it is very much groupthink and mob mentality. And if one person is saying something, especially if it's coming from Paul, I do think it's very hard to stand up and say, hey, that's not right. Even if you ultimately do feel that way, Taryn, I know that you and John talked about this in the podcast you guys did about the cult mentality, but it's very hard to speak out when you are in a group like that.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I mean, I mean, especially when you're playing a game, but also just like the general atmosphere of what's happening. You really, John talked about it. Like, it really diffuses your responsibility. You feel like the responsibility lies in the group, and you are not responsible for your own actions. And so, when you see other people doing something that you might not agree with, you're like, even if you would want to say something, you feel like, yeah, it's probably fine though. I mean, this is just this is how it's going.
Yeah. Ramses, that's why I have so much respect for Taryn, because when all of the rest of the LFC said that Cody made one of the worst moves of all time to take Derek to the end, Taryn was not afraid to be an outlier and say, no, it wasn't. It's not even in my top 10.
I don't know if I agree with that, but I mean, no, yeah, this dude, I mean, why did he take Derek, dude?
He wasn't afraid to go against the grain.
I think
okay.
I think we're going to be asking that question of Raven at the end of the season as well. Like, why did you take Paul to the end?
Oh my God, y'all!
I won't be afraid to call that one one of the worst moves.
Oh my God. If Raven somehow makes it to final 2, honestly, God forbid, but if she somehow makes it, dude, she's gonna be so confident she's gonna win, but
that'll be worth it. That'll be worth it.
Yeah, it would be worth it.
Yeah. Okay. This is from Angel, who asks, does anyone left in the house actually know enough about this game to be studying for the Final Four veto? Probably Paul, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's Paul.
Yeah, I don't think there's a Kevin Martin in the waiting here in this house. Adam Green wants to know, do you think that Jason realizes that none of his alliance members are with him during this fight? Yeah, that was one of the things that I was talking about coming into this week with all of the pairs. How is Paul going to be able to play this where everybody thinks that he's with them? And then when the two sides fight, where is he going to be? We saw in the episode tonight that as it was Jason versus Matt and Raven, while we did see Paul with Matt and Raven off to the side, when the actual fighting was happening, he went to Christmas and Josh, which I thought was a pretty smart way to play it. I have to give Paul a lot of credit for the way that he's been able to walk this tightrope, Ramses.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, definitely. This guy's doing so great. He put himself in a perfect position where, like, he's working with all these pairs, and he's literally be able to back up on whichever pair he needs to for whatever situation, whether it's a vote or whether it's a argument like he just did. He's able to pull back and go to this group, which is like, dude, props to you. I don't like you, but props to you.
Yeah. I think that's something that I guess the show edit missed a bit was the reason why Jason was willing to take all this on his own was because when he refused to put Kevin up on the block, Alex basically said, well, that's fine, but like, that's on you. I'm going to say I had nothing to do with it. And Jason said, fine, I'll own this one. And he was totally okay with the fact that nobody else was going to back him up and he was going to take like 100% of the blame.
Yeah. Well, he did. He did.
What were you trying to do?
Sam Moore, the great Sam Moore. How has Ramses spent the $25K you won the first night? Yeah. What did you spend it on, Ramses?
I got a new apartment, new car, bought some turkeys for Thanksgiving. I'm pretty prepared. I'm set for life.
Okay.
Not.
Wow. That's great. A visual question. Looks like it's time to sell some PSL so Big Brother can fund a new house with a retractable roof. Oh, yes. Taryn, would you be in favor of a Big Brother house with a retractable roof?
I don't know. Those Big Brother Canada house guests get very, very anxious about the fact that they don't get to go outside. I don't know if the house guests would like that one.
Yeah. Ramses, isn't this exciting that we had a Big Brother weather delay for the first time ever? I don't even think this happened in OTT.
It's crazy. It's like, when does this ever happen? First of all, in LA where it's raining and it's during Big Brother. Like, that's cool, honestly, but this is the HOH I wanted to watch happen. Oh my God, it was going to be so suspenseful. But hey, this is the season of firsts, a lot of firsts. So might as well bring Mother Nature into it.
Darren, is this a sign? Is this an act of God? Do you think that things will ultimately change after tonight?
Yeah, maybe maybe
the
if
heavens
things,
opened up.
if things had played out the way that they were supposed to, it was going to be Josh that won. But maybe because of the delay, we have a butterfly effect, and Kevin magically wins the HOH, and he sends Alex out of the game.
Okay. We will see if that happens. Okay. Kristen says, so they play HOH comps where they spray the house guests with water, but they can't play the HOH comp tonight because it's raining. Again, that this HOH competition, if you're not familiar with it, involves running on the track. And then I'm imagining it's probably going to be a dangerous thing to go to that starting line. And I'm imagining it's also going to be a very, a real downpour. So I think it's a little different. I mean, that they were not going to be able to fit the whole thing in on the live show, and they need to get it right for Sunday. And from what I understand, looking at the weather, I think it was going to be a rapidly moving storm.
What would be really funny to me is if they delayed this competition because of rain, because they can't have people slipping around, and then they play the competition and everyone throws it before they actually run at all. That'd be funny.
Everybody just faults in the order that they're supposed to.
Exactly. And nobody runs. There's no even point to delay it at all.
Nobody will piece it together.
Suspenseful wait for no reason.
Yeah. Okay. Johnny DeSavera says, which player benefits from an HOH competition that gets delayed? Probably nobody, right? I think it hurts Kevin because it's later now.
Yeah.
That's his bedtime.
I got late. Okay. This is from Steven, who asks, did I hear wrong, or were there some boos for Matt? And Pad Tad says, why wasn't Matt booed by the live audience when he existed? Ramses, we haven't really touched on the decision by Matt that he was going to try to accumulate as many penalty votes as possible and not be a have not, or basically throwaway being a have not. What did you think of that? Did it bother you at all?
That is absolutely so annoying that he did that. I mean, you're playing Big Brother. It does not matter what situation you are in. Big Brother rules are Big Brother rules. Dude, follow it. Especially when you're a have-not. That's something that everybody who goes through Big Brother goes through. And you're, like, disrespecting it like that just because you think you're going home. Like, first of all, it wasn't even said, like, for, like, in stone that you were going home. I mean, it was obvious that I was going home. But how was he supposed to know that? And dude, like, that's so disrespectful. People have gone through so much worse in this game, and you decided to do that. It's really annoying.
Stick to your core values.
Yeah, stuck to his core values.
Stick to your core values.
Now, Karen, do you feel like that? Is this rule broken to put the penalty vote on a person that is doing this? Because we've seen it in the past. We saw this happen with Audrey. I think this happened with Jen Johnson as well, if I recall. It seems like it's a person who has already given up, that often that putting a penalty vote on them is not going to be any sort of thing that is going to make them not want to do this. Should Big Brother take money away from the stipend that they're supposed to get? Should they get some sort of a financial penalty?
Yeah, I mean, Brent was certainly advocating for that. I honestly, I think the more eloquent solution, I saw this on Twitter, is Big Brother Canada does this on occasion, punish the entire house. If they're going to go on their way out, punish the entire house. It certainly with somebody like Matt, he wouldn't have done it. Somebody maybe like Jen would have done it, and it would have caused even more drama. So I feel like it's a win-win either way.
I don't know. I do feel like that you would get more people on the way out the door where they're angry about what is going to be happening. And I could see like a Cody saying, maybe Jessica would be a have-not also, but it's like, I hate these people. I want them all to be have-nots. They're going to vote me out anyway. I'm going to intentionally break the rules now because I want to punish these people because I hate them so much.
Well, maybe it has to be case by case. If you know it's somebody like Cody who would take pleasure in it, then you got to come up with something else.
Ramses, what do you think? What should Big Brother do to prevent this in the future?
I was actually thinking about this before this episode too. I was like, what should they do? But that's a good idea. Punish the house, but you just don't know when they should do it. With the cast like this, definitely taking money out the stipend would have been a huge big deal, I bet, for them, because getting to jury was literally all they wanted to do, and I'm assuming that's because of the stipend, so which is annoying in itself. But
in this house, I think the thing that they could have done that would have been the most effective was that if somebody breaks the rules, they are going to punish Paul. And okay, if you break the rules,
Let's sign a petition, guys.
Yeah,
We can
Paul
do
is going to
it.
be a have-not. Like, oh, no, please. Not anything but that. Not that. Please, you wouldn't. No.
What were you trying to do?
Please. Not
Yes.
Paul.
Case by case. Yeah.
Not Paul. Okay.
Yeah.
Paul has to eat. Okay. Daniel says, could Raven even handle a tattoo? She's not allergic or anything. Ramses, what do you think? Would Raven be able to get through a tattoo?
I mean, with all the things she said, I don't think so. I mean, I'm sure she's going to come up with some type of excuse, you know what I mean, that says that she can't do it because she has needle-itis syndrome or something. I don't know.
Taryn, at one point that Raven was talking about her bucket list. I was like, Raven, don't cross too many things off the bucket list. Make sure that you want to have lots of things on that bucket list. Don't get...
I like that she said it was number 3. Like, oh man, number 3, really hitting the high one.
That's nitty gritty. Getting down to it. This is Taryn has been so animated lately. Could Armstrong Taryn be becoming a real boy? Taryn, you're so animated lately. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, well, I've been watching Dark Matter, and there's an illegal chip that some androids are able to obtain that makes them seem more human-like. So I've just been working on one of those.
Is it because you've been watching Matt on the feeds so much this week that you're just like copying his mannerism? What?
Yeah.
What, bro? Bro, you kidding me? Ah!
What are you going to do?
What are you even talking about? What are you even saying right now, bro? Holy.
What? Bro,
Taryn, you almost got it. Just go up a few octaves and then you're like perfect. There we go.
What are you saying to me? What?
There we go.
I'm getting this right. People love my impression. What are you saying to me right now?
There we go. Okay. What are you trying to do?
What are you trying to do to me?
Oh, Matthew.
Kyle, was it Ramses? How does it feel that yourself and all the pre-jury cast members rank higher on Jokers than the rest of the cast that's still playing? Yeah, how about that?
Hey, everyone in there sucks. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, they have a good reason because, I mean, like I said, with the whole bullying stuff, like people have been showing a really like not good side of themselves in there. And the more you're in that house, apparently they're making it okay. And the more ugly side of people is coming out. So it definitely makes sense why the ratings are like that.
Here we are. It is day 74. Do you know where you are on Joker's updates, Ramses?
I'm like on the 5 or something. I just retweeted
5.
it.
Yeah.
I just retweeted it. So, hey.
And Raven is number 17. So not number 3, like her bucket list.
That's America's sweetheart for you.
And Matt is right there next to her. Number 16. Yeah.
How cute.
Okay.
I'm surprised it's not Alex.
No, Alex is actually number 15. So she's right there. Okay. Jennifer wants to know, Ramses, what are your thoughts about the word gumpy? What do you think of Paul's new catchphrase?
Very gumpy.
Honestly, I want to say something bad about it, but honestly, it's a very useful word.
It's useful. You like it.
I've used it a few times
It's
myself outside the house. It's a pretty lit word, honestly. I like gumpy.
Okay. See, you only had lit. You needed to also have a negative word. Like Paul has something is boys or it's gumpy. You need the opposite of lit.
What should it be? Unlit? No, it can come up with
Doused?
something better.
Well, friendship and piss, really
What
not.
the heck is that?
No. This needs to be something totally, random.
Very random. We'll come up with that.
Yeah. Okay. That Survivor guy, serious question. Paul's absolutely dominating. Going back to in the finals, can we say that Paul's a top 10 player? I mean, are we saying right now, or I mean that Paul is certainly a top 10 player if he reaches back-to-back finals? That at this point right now, if we were going to rank Big Brother players, if Paul was medevaced out of the game right now, Taryn, would he be a top 10 player?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Ramses, what do you think?
I don't think so. He's doing great, but I don't think so.
I would think so. I would think
mean,
so.
he's certainly on the trajectory, but there's still a lot of like way to go. And some of the most dangerous moments for Paul are coming up to, getting to the final four, the final three. Like those are the places where people like Paul and, I think Vanessa was in a similar spot, could very easily be cut if he's not good enough. And we need to be able to see him be good enough in order to say, all right, fine, we'll put him up there.
I feel like that maybe you could say, okay, top 5 is going to be tough to crack, but 6 through 10, I feel like you could find a spot for him there.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, okay, I'll change my answer. I'm going to say yes, because both of his seasons, he's done so good. And this, like, even halfway point of this season, this guy was freaking steamrolling. So I'm only imagining just, like, what's going to happen in the future. So, I don't know. It's great. It's great gameplay. I mean, you have to give it to him.
One of the things I am enjoying that Paul has been doing lately is these people are so stupid. I'm telling them what to do, and they're buying it. I do like that attitude from Paul. Like, I feel like that if he is also talking about how stupid the people in the house are, like, don't make it like, I've had a target on my back since day one. Everybody's gunning for me in this house. Like, I like this a lot more, where it's like, hey, look, I don't control these people. Oh, wait. Yes, I do. I like that. I feel like that it's Dr. Will-esque.
Yeah, much better.
Yeah,
Good
go
stuff,
with that,
good
Paul.
stuff.
That's good. All right. Andy says, what did Doormat see in Ravens game that nobody else is seeing? He did read that. We saw that Matt said tonight. Yeah. So I think that Paul and Raven are playing the 2 best games in the house. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think he saw what he wanted to see, to be honest.
Okay.
He couldn't understand
so.
half of what she said, so he just imagined the absolute best that he could for all of that half.
Yeah.
John Heddle says, why didn't we get to see any of the Kevin and Alex fight that the feeds were down for? Would it have gone against the pro Alex edit? Taryn, what was the Kevin Alex fight?
Well, that's kind of the problem, that the feeds were down for it. Kevin got into an argument with Matt because he had a conversation with Matt where he told him a lot of things, and then Matt spread it around, and Kevin got kind of annoyed, and Matt got in Kevin's face. Then the feeds went down. By the time they came back up, Kevin was talking with Christmas about an argument that he had with Alex, where Alex was basically yelling at him, and he felt very uncomfortable. And we never saw it on the feeds, and I don't know if we'll ever see it.
Okay. Maybe Sunday. I guess we'll see. This is from Andy, who says, on a scale of dumpy to friendship, I think this means gumpy. On a scale of gumpy to friendship, what's the likelihood Christmas would actually go against Paul and target Alex? Do you think that is a possibility, Ramses? Could Christmas go rogue? Now, again, I think there's there's no chance she's going to be the HOH based on this competition. So It would be Josh as HOH, Christmas in his ear. We almost saw this come up during the first time Josh was HOH during the season, where there was some pushing for Elena to ultimately go home on Josh's HOH instead of Jessica. Do you think that there is a chance at this point in the game we could see Paul undermined like that?
I don't know, but in Christmas's behalf, I don't think I don't know. She definitely would push for Alex and Jason to be on the block. I feel like that would be Christmas's agenda for sure. Yeah, and I feel like Christmas and Paul are really close. I've always seen that they've been close since the beginning. You know what I mean? So they're going to be in each other's ears, whoever wins any type of power. So
yeah. Taryn, did we get the HOH competition to start?
Not that I've seen. It's feeds haven't come back yet. Okay. We had a Matt interview, but that's about it.
Okay, so we could skip that. Patty Joe wants to know, I wonder if Ramses turned down any advice from Dan Giesling. If not, does he know who? Dan Giesling tweeted before the start of the season that he offered advice to one of the players going into BB19 who said, no, I got this. And Dan said, okay. You are from the home state of Dan Giesling, if I am correct. Did you refute advice from Taryn's hero, Dan Giesling?
Why on earth would I like deny any help?
Oh, give me a straight answer. Come on.
Well, it was not me.
Yes or
It was
no?
not me, if that's the question. I freaking wish. I want to meet Dan. This guy's a freaking legend, but no, it was not me.
Okay, not Rand.
Sorry, guys.
Darren, what do you think? That it was Dan just stirring the pot? Or do you think that somebody did actually have the opportunity to speak with Dan and passed?
Oh, I believe him. I'm no, especially knowing this cast, I am sure that somebody offered he offered somebody advice and they turned it down because they were like, no. Paul, I know that I'm going to meet Paul in the house and he's going to give me all the advice I need.
I mean, who could it have been? Could it have been Paul?
Actually, it could have been Paul. To be honest,
Yeah,
I could very easily see it because like who else would Dan know is going to be on the cast?
Trust
I mean,
me,
obviously,
Dan. Hold my beer. I got this.
Paul would absolutely turn down advice from Dan, and then basically anyone else who doesn't know the show probably would.
Okay. All right. Well, Ramses, very fun to go through everything with you. Anything else about the season that you want to tell us about or something that people don't know?
No, not really. I honestly just want something crazy to happen for the season. Let's have something just insane happen and not have this mob mentality happen anymore. That's literally all I want.
Is there anybody you're not looking forward to seeing at the finale?
No, I feel like I'm gonna be friends with everybody, honestly. Kind of like how I was inside of the house. It's not really gonna change afterwards. And I can really distinguish the whole inside the house and outside the house thing. So
what about the other people that are already out of the house? Have you been in contact with all of the pre-jury people?
yes, our group chat is lit, guys. We're always talking.
Everybody's in there, even Megan?
Yeah, dude, we love each other. It's a BB fan. Well,
Megan did not walk out of the group chat?
No, she did not. We're all good sports about it. We all just send each other memes of each other constantly.
Yeah. Even Queen Jillian?
Of course, Queen Jillian. She's my top favorite. Me and Jillian are always talking to each other.
Okay. So great stuff. Are you friends with Cameron? I feel like that you guys didn't get to hang out in the house. I feel like that you guys would have been friends in the house.
I mean, yeah, we would have definitely been friends in the house, but right now we talk every once in a while, you know what I mean? But not like we don't really message each other too much. But
Yes.
I'd love to get to know that guy.
So Taryn, do we have an update on the HOH? That it seems like that the chat room seems to think that we do.
Feeds have come back. Nothing has been confirmed. I'm pretty sure Alex did not win. She was talking to Jason.
I didn't play the spoiler music.
Oh,
All right, how about this? Okay, so let me plug what's coming up next on the podcast, and then we can quickly do a spoiler update and talk about the ramifications. All right, here's what's coming up on the podcast. Bachelor in Paradise is ongoing. Amy and Haley have your latest week 3 recap. Very controversial Bachelor in Paradise. So you think you can dance? We have a So you think you can dance? RHAP up for those of you guys who may not be aware of that. Australian Survivor is also lit. Check out what Nick Yadanza found out from the latest booted contestants on Australian Survivor on the RHAP ups as well. And then we will see after all the fireworks, Taryn will be back with another Big Brother live feed update coming up tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. And then I'll be back on Sunday night, regular time. Game of Thrones is over. And so we will be back after the East Coast airing of Big Brother 19 this Sunday night. So be on the lookout for that. Very excited to be back on our regular schedule, Taryn.
Yes, very exciting. Looking forward to it.
Okay. All right. So let me give you the very quick spoiler song, and then we'll talk about what we've learned.
The Office of Civil Defense has issued the following message. This is
a spoiler.
Warning. Protective action should be taken.
Yes.
Wow, that was
Ramses,
lit.
Yeah. Do you know that my degree is in dance?
Oh, I can tell from those moves you just showed us.
Yes. Okay. All right. So, Taryn, what's the latest at this hour?
I'm very confused. Apparently, I'm seeing reports Christmas has won the HOH.
What?
Maybe she scooted her way to victory.
Hold on. This is a literal race. The literal race. Ironically, the one thing that being gumpy would actually help you do, running like run, Forrest, run. So the girl with a broken leg won a racing competition?
Apparently, and Alex was talking to Jason, and Jason was saying you couldn't even win one race, like implying that they did race at one point. Like it wasn't what I said, where nobody actually ran. So I mean, I'm very confused. I think she's wearing the key, so that's why people think that she won. I don't know if there's any other like further confirmation, but this is crazy to me.
Okay, all right. Yeah, again, we talked about the rules of that you could have defaulted, and did they all throw the competition and then get eliminated to have Christmas win the HOH? But okay, let's see what happens.
I'm seeing somebody in the chat say, Christmas said, "Thanks for effing up, y'all." So maybe she was allowed to compete, and they never actually went to a race because everybody faulted.
What were you trying to do?
Okay. We will see the winners and losers from a Christmas HOH and what the ramifications will be. We'll see. Taryn will have everything tomorrow morning on the update. Do you know who's on the update with you, Taryn?
I do not.
Okay. All right. We'll see. We'll see what's going on. And then Jason wants to know, why did everyone keep calling Raven Gypsy? Is a late breaking question. Is that a nickname?
It is a nickname. I don't know.
Not a flattering one.
No, I don't really like. I don't think it's very appropriate either. Like,
yeah. Okay.
I don't even know how that happened.
Yeah. We don't know. All right. I have a request from the chat room for one more question for Ramses. Let me see if I have this question for you.
Would you rather fight a giant mosquito one time and get your ass whipped by it? Or would you like the relationship that you have and never get bit again? Or do you like the relationship that you have with mosquitoes right now?
What do you think, Ramses?
I would keep the relationship that I have with mosquitoes right now. I remember him asking me that question, and it flew straight over my head. I was like, what did this guy even ask me right now? I was so confused. But yes, I'd rather just keep my relationship because it's pretty decent as well.
Yeah. I mean, unless you live in some place where, there's, a massive chance of Zika or cholera, I don't want to get my ass beat by a giant mosquito.
Me neither.
Yeah. Okay.
I totally get. I don't understand who wants to keep their current relationship with mosquitoes. I do not like my relationship with mosquitoes. It's very abusive, and I'm not a fan.
You little punk!
Yeah. Okay. I think mosquitoes are very gumpy, personally.
Very gumpy.
All right. So thanks so much to Scott St. Pierre behind the scenes. Of course, you could follow Ramses on Twitter. I know he is the BBHomie1. Is that the same for Instagram?
No, Instagram is Rambam13.
Rambam13. Okay. You gotta get him the same.
I do. I gotta fix it up.
You gotta fix it up. Okay. All right. Well, great stuff. Very fun, Ramses. You come back anytime you want to talk about any of these shows. You watch Survivor?
Oh, yes. I've been really getting into Survivor. Watched the last season, and it was freaking good. So Can't wait for this new one.
Okay. If you thought that one was good, hopefully we'll see even better ones going forward. All right.
Oh, for sure.
So thanks so much, everybody. Check out all of our Survivor coverage as well that we kicked off the Survivor 35 preseason. I spoke with Mike Bloom on our kickoff special from Survivor 35, Heroes versus Healers versus Hustlers. You can check that out on robhasawebsite.com. And then also, Josh Wigler was on location. He went all the way to Fiji on a hunt to meet all of the new Survivor players and learn which one of them will be the first one out, the first ever narrative podcast that we've done in the history of RHAP, edited together masterfully by the robot himself, Taron Armstrong. Taron, again, fantastic job there.
Thank you. It's seriously the most fun I've had putting a podcast together. I hope everyone enjoys it. It's very different, but I think it's very cool.
Okay. Great job on that. I hope everybody checks that out. Rob has a website.com/iTunes for everything. Take care, everybody. Have a great night. Bye.